Hi everybody, welcome to another Thursday Tips and Tricks. Today I thought I would share with you some of the ways that I store and organize my fabrics that are in my stash. Now you have to understand, I've been a quilting instructor and a quilter for more than 40 years now. And I always felt it was my obligation whenever I went into quilt shop to really help support their economy. So I've got a very large stash. As a matter of fact, I call my stash Sable. Stash accumulated beyond life expectancy. I know full well I'm never going to use all this, but there are times when there's just the right fabric and I need to be able to access it quickly and easily. So how do I organize my stash? Well, one of the first ways I organize the stash, and it goes all the way around this end of the room, is by type. If they're batiks, they go here. If they're flannels, they go here. If they're 1930s fabrics, they go there. If they're reproductions, so if there is a type of fabric, I organize them and put them that way. If they're just basically quilting cottons, then what they do is they go into color areas. You can see I've got purples here. The blue greens, the light blue greens, the navies are all over there. But even amongst the types, like the reproductions, I still have a color organization. So color is probably the easiest way to store your stash. Then, of course, you have different amounts of fabrics that you've collected over the years. If the fabric that I've bought is more than a yard, these are fabrics that I store on the shelves. And the shelves that I use are wire baker shelves. First of all, they're really sturdy and really steady. Second of all, because they're wire, they keep the air moving through the fabric a little bit better, and they allow me to easily see all the fabrics that are in my stash. But if I have a fabric that's longer than a yard, that's when they get stored on the shelves. And one of the things that I do to keep them all looking and being manageable on the shelf is to do what I learned several years ago from a good friend of mine. I take my widest ruler, and in my case, it's an 8.5-inch ruler, and I use it kind of like a bolt that the fabric would be rolled on at a shop, and lay that ruler inside the fabric and simply wrap the fabric around until I get to the end. Now I can take that as it is, take it to the shelf with the ruler still in there, position it on there, slide it out, and there you have it. It's stored nice and easily. Now, sometimes I'll put stacks of these together and take them all at once and place them in the shelf like this. And then again, so this acts like a spatula, a giant pizza tray, if you can think of it like that. But it really helps you to position these easily onto your shelf. Sometimes you collect fabrics in fat quarters. And if you're collecting for a specific project, a lot of times I'll put them in a pretty little box. I don't know what this project's going to be, but I've got something in mind. And since the box is almost full, I guess maybe it's time to bring that project to the top of the list of things to do. So anytime, these are simply fat quarters, but a lot of times I will also organize fabric less than a yard into fabric totes or fabric tubs of light colors. So in here I have some pieces, they're not very big. I know they're less than a yard, or they would be on the shelf organized. But some of them are fat quarters still rolled. Some of them are simply little bits and pieces, but they fit into the right category. And when I store them together, when I go to make a blue and white vintage quilt, I start here first to start the projects. And then, of course, you have fabrics that are less than a fat quarter, less than a quarter yard. And those fabrics, if you intend to save them, what I do is I take them and I group them together into these kind of bundles, and I just kind of fold them so that they're all about the same size, use a ribbon and tie them together, and put all those on a shelf. So if I need scraps, I don't have to pull out big pieces of fabric. I'll head here first and see if I can't find what I'm looking for when I make a pretty little scrap quilt. So there you have it. These are ideas. I'm sure that you have lots of ideas. If you'd like to share those on our Facebook page, we would love to see how it is that you handle your sable stash. But you know, one other thing I'm going to encourage you to do is go through that stash on a fairly regular basis and really see if everything truly is going to stay in your stash. Every year I take one of these wire shelves and I go through it from top to bottom. Some of it is reshelved, some of it is donated and given away to good causes or to people who can then use the fabric. So keep that in mind. Get yourself organized so you can find what it is you want for your next project. And everybody, have a great couple weeks. See you soon.